take this over here. It's pretty small here. Now this is one of those things where it looks like the horizon is in the center, but it's really covered up by so many things that I don't think it really matters.
Rob, are you recording this?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll make this a little, it's a little more narrow than that. So I'll just chop it down here a little bit. Something like that. It doesn't have to be as long and narrow as the other one. But anyway, what we have here is, let's take the vanishing point and put it kind of close to the center, a little off center. And then we can see these buildings, and they kind of go up and kind of down. Okay, let's make sure everybody is muted. Nope. Got everybody, we gotta mute you. Okay. There we go. And so this would be our, so you see how I just went to one point like that? That gives us the shape of our buildings over here. So let's just say, for instance, we have a building that kind of comes out like this. There's the header. And see these point, they all go down to this point right here. Like that. It's just, they call it 1 point perspective. It's, there we go, something like that. And the other ones you can't really even see too much. They're just really a bunch of vertical lines that do get a little bit bigger as they come out. Actually, this building isn't that big, is it? I think it's a little flatter on the bottom. It's so many darn.
Rob,
Rob,
I have a quick question. You know, the horizontal lines from that side that you're drawing right now, they don't, on the picture, they don't seem to converge into that middle dot. They seem to go higher. I get confused with this picture because I thought the same, but then when I'm looking, I literally put the ruler in some of those lines in the building, and they don't go down to that vanishing point. They go further out.
Well, they're probably on a curve.
Oh. Okay.
Don't worry about it. Just
I see what you're saying. Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. If you get too technical with this piece, it'll just, it won't end well. So let's take some of these straight down, these little verticals. Take them straight down. Look, I'm not at all worried about them being straight. And then we got this big sign up in the sky there. We could just decide how wide you want your sign to be. And let's say, for instance, let's say on this part, let's say, okay, I want it about like from there to there. Okay, and then just take those lines down to this point like this. Yeah. And there's your sign. Easy breezy. And you can take that down, you know, just flop this right here. These reflections are getting stretched out quite a bit. So I'm going to take this line, like this line right here. I'm going to reflect that down into there like this. And there's another one. And then this thing up here, we could just take that down. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Or look how warped it is in there. So just, you know, something like that's fine. This is not the kind of piece you want to get all technical on. This is going to be a lot easier than you might think. Oh, yes.
Rob, if I may ask.
Go ahead.
I really am getting confused with all these lines. Would there be a way for you to share screen the photo and show on the photo where these lines are, because I'm not quite sure. Or maybe I'm asking too much and I shouldn't worry and it will become clear.
It will become clear. I mean, the photo is way. I think a lot of those storefronts are probably on different angles, and that would require way too much perspective. So I just have them all going to one point like that. So watch. All I'm doing here is doing this. Watch. All I'm doing is that right there. Okay, and then all I'm doing is taking these lines straight down like this. All right, and then I take this line right here. I just duplicate that. So see how it's just the reverse. This down here is the reverse of that. And then I can make a little bit bigger. That's for this thing. Yeah, my perspective isn't absolutely right on the mark exactly with that one. I can see it almost looks like parts of it are coming in and parts of it are coming out, and I'm not really sure. And it's not really, it doesn't really matter either. Just keep it simple. Keep it simple.
Rob, can I ask a question too?
Yeah.
Thanks. What sign are we talking about? I just see buildings on both sides of the people that are walking. I don't see it.
Just that one sign in the sky, that?
No, it's the left-hand side, right-hand side that you said, okay, you drew two parallel lines broadly spaced on the right-hand side of your paper. What are those?
On the right-hand side of these?
Yeah?
That's just the frame.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, thanks.
Okay. No problem. Okay, so then let's just, see a few little lines in the sidewalk? I just put them in there. You're going to paint right over them. Don't even worry about it. And then we got all this. There's a few verticals in here like this. See that you've got that sort of orange thing in there. That I guess that's a big post right there. And then we have all of these little lanterns, and maybe make it a little bigger as they come at you. Maybe some of them are overlapping each other too. I should have probably done that. We'll have a couple of them like overlapping the last one there. And there's a few over here. And a whole bunch back here. I'm not even going to worry about those. And then I guess I could have made this up higher, huh? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and make that up higher. Whoops. I'm just gonna do that again. Take the top. There's sort of a little header thing on there, and you can even leave that out if you don't want it. Stuff like that. Stuff like that. In the reflection, you don't even really see it. I mean, you could put it in there like this, but it's not really going to be seen. Look at it. The water just turns everything into kind of this beautiful mush. So we're just going to keep it simple like that. I'm going to put this little sign in the sky a little higher, and that'll be fun to reflect down into here like that. And so as far as the drawing goes, the people right here are really the big issue. So we'll put most of our detail into the people, and you'll see that won't even actually be very much detail. So we have a little umbrella. We'll take ours a little bit higher than the just a triangle. A little bit higher than the horizon line. And we've got a couple of shapes. We've got kind of an arm shape there, and We got a little, that's kind of wide. Whoops. Little arm shape there and a little, just block it out, kind of a dress shape, and then a leg. You can keep those pretty, if anything, that's too big. Okay, no big deal. Keep this thing small. It's kind of a shape like that. And then we have this other one overlapping it. A little bit bigger. And little case there. And then and if you look at the reflection, it's just not much. You don't even see the umbrellas hardly. Something like that. We'll take care of the rest with the paint. Add in any more of those as we like. And let's do our value steady. So we'll draw this thing out a few times before you even, well, a couple of times anyway, before you even do the actual one. But let's just start off with our light values and maybe, what do I got here? Lighter values. We'll just avoid out where the white is. Got some lighter values in here. Put that in there. And what I'm going to do is just take this right over the black. Or no, I'm not going to use black actually. I'm just a dark. We'll just do that. And we're going to do a wet into wet thing when we do the finish one. I'm not going to do it on this scale. But you'll see we'll have a blast. All right. And a lot of this stuff. We have this big storefront right here that just creates this big giant reflection. This is all just one value. It's one value, and we'll go over it and make it darker too. So then you can take it right behind a lot of these. We got that little white sign from the sky being reflected down here, so and we'll just let's go right over their sort of reflections too, because they'll go darker. And then we have these long vertical things here. Feel like a bottom. And I'm not going to worry about these being perfect looking. You could just do something like that if you like. Squiggle them up. Because squiggle them up because those are in reflections. And then let's see here. Got that, two. Just keeping it really simple. There's some little things, and a lot. If you're going to put a kind of a horizontal on here, then make sure it goes to your vanishing point like that. And you can put them anywhere. Look, they're all over. And you can put them down here too, like that. Just like that. show you how to make those look like reflections too. All this areas, that stuff on it too. You see in between them, yeah, there's a few little ditties. And it's all the light behind these silhouettes that's making them pop. So we want to keep a lot of light behind them. Even though there's little people, I see little people back here in the windows, window shopping, doing their fun window shopping thing. You could just see them like that for there, and then they'll just throw a couple of those in there. So that's most of our mid-tone. And then most of our dark is going to be right up in here and right around a lot of this stuff. We're just going to keep it just going around them. Notice I'm really not sweating the small stuff. The sky gets lighter and lighter and lighter because there's more light emanating from the buildings. And so this down here just does a repeat of what's up there. We can just, you're just looking at a mirror. This is just mirroring that. See? Okay. And we've got a lot of this red stuff in there. That'll be fun. And as I put these strokes down here, I just want to think horizontal, you know, like this. They're doing a lot of this stuff. And then as we come up into the buildings right here, they go vertical again. And as you pull it down here, throw them down in sort of horizontally. Just like that. Not a whole lot. And every time you throw these into, just throw them in horizontally. Any kind of vertical that's being reflected down there. Any of these, just like that. Just throw them in. And then I come back in and throw in my little horizontal squiggly things. We're going to get squigglicious today. No question about it. You know it. And then I'm going to put these in a nice silhouette, really flat. Let me emphasize, they do not have to be perfect, especially in your value study, but just little silhouettes. When you come down here, just put these in really and there's our focal point. Just like that. And now a couple little darkies down there. There's a light pole there, so I'm not going to worry about, well, I guess I could hit a little bit darker on the outside and then just kind of and it's yummy. Maybe our lights are a little bright, so I can take the edge off those. Just bring them down in value a little bit. I mean, we may want to pump up the value in some of them later. Yeah. And there's just a lot of little goodies back there. And there's our basic value steady. Just like that. I told you, it's going to be easy.
Not easy, but it is a lot clearer. Thank you.
It'll be easy, you'll see. This is going to be loose. We're going to handle this so loose. We're going to do wet into wet too, so we're going to wet down the whole thing when we do it. I'll show you. I will hold your hand. I will virtually hold your hand. And we'll just do that. I could have just done that like that, huh? Darn it. Okay. Oh, there's the guy with the blower. I'll have to scream over him. All right, let's do it again here. I'm thinking I want to put my horizon line a little above center. Now that I've seen, I wouldn't mind making a little bit more issue out of the reflection than out of the sky. Just a choice. And then I put my point about there, a little off center. So if center's there, I put it, if the center's here, I put it about there. And it looks like the ground is, it's where the buildings meet the ground is, it's about like this. Over there. And I guess we could, since we're doing that, we could do the other ones about something like that. So I guess we could just eliminate this horizon line, so we really don't see it. Another just a confusing line. We don't need any confusion. All right, so put my buildings up here, and then just duplicate that about. See, if it's that high off there, then it'll be about the same down here, like that. Just duplicate that. Maybe it's a little bit more. And even in the reflection kind of stretches these out, so this doesn't have to be perfect, but it'll kind of help you. Okay, we have this one building way back here. It just kind of goes forward a little bit, up, over. Like that, and you really don't see it that much, so, you know, if your perspective isn't perfect, it doesn't matter as much as you might think. In fact, I think the perspective on that one's actually going way over here somewhere. I just kind of wanted to just do one point. To keep it simple, we'll just keep it like that. We'll take this down into here. Something like that. That's good. And as you can see, I'm really not uptight about making it look exactly like what I'm looking at. I'm just using this. I'm trying to create mostly it's the abstraction about the piece I want to get. It's a feeling, you know? So do there? Oh, and I just take these straight down into there like that. You got this line, something like that, and that's good enough. Okay, and then we have a lot of poles and things in here that are being obscured by all the lanterns. We've got this sort of pole thing going on here, this sort of orange thing, which is kind of nice. We got some other windows and reflections and things like that that are, you know, just anytime you put a line going along the building, make sure it goes to the point like this, you know. There really aren't any lines up here. I was just kind of showing you. Okay, and we have one major lantern about there. I guess they're sort of in this sort of round, squatty shape. And I wanted some of my lanterns overlapping each other. You don't want them all the same size. I don't think they are. Maybe they are. I don't know. It's like they're smaller, but they're so far away. Who knows? Back here, they get a little smaller, a little smaller, and smaller. So at this scale, I really wouldn't worry about it. We have some other ones over here. And again, you don't have to, what I'm actually going for is this sort of swoop like this. I can feel that sort of happening in there, so I might want to even emphasize that a little bit. That's why I overlap these a little bit. I could even have one over here, and then maybe one over here, you know, finishing this thing off. Maybe one's even cut off of there at the top, who knows? Again, taking us into the piece, you could even have a couple cropped out of the piece here, just for interesting negative shapes. That's good. You know, there's a billion of them back here, and I'm not even going to try to put those in. Okay, and then we want our, I think we wanted our person here. Just going to draw it. We could erase some of this stuff out if you like. And kind of the, I just see it as a triangle. It's a great way to lay out an umbrella. Just as a sort of triangle first. And the other one's a little, we don't want them exactly at the same angle, but I think them overlapping is kind of nice. Shoulders. Just lay it out like a square. Kind of a dress shape. And you got the legs. Head, shoulders, dress. Guess you got the purse over here and the briefcase over there. They're in the city and they're going to town. Okay. Then we just turn this over. We're just doing the opposite of this, and the reflection doesn't have to be perfect, okay? It just needs to be something sort of, you just want to see that reflected, and it's going to be squiggly. So there's the legs. There's the legs. Kind of. And you got the skirt. And the squigglies. And maybe some more for the umbrellas. Oh yeah, we had that one shape up in the sky, right? We can just pull that down into there. Does not have to be perfect. I'm trying to put all these reflections perfect in there. They're not even perfect in the reflection. I'm looking at the photograph, they're still not, so we'll do a lot of stuff with that. But that's about how I lay it out. We do have this white building here that's emulating so much light that we really do need to throw that in there. But look, I mean, the reflection of that should stop about here, but it's being stretched out all the way down, and that's because of sometimes the reflection will stretch everything out. So could be other stuff. It could be these lights up above too. Ting, ting, ting. But whatever, we'll just get a nice little reflection going down there. And then let's start painting. Let's throw in these oranges first, these yellowy oranges coming from the background, and then we'll just take it right down behind them. Right down behind her there. There's a couple more back there. I see a couple more in the windows. Just hit them here and there. Hit them around. Maybe something a little more orange now. Over here, and I like that orange post here, so I'm going to go ahead and just throw that down into the reflections. You see how almost calligraphic I am with the strokes? Well, we're gonna have when we do the finish, the technique won't be like this. I don't want to use that technique when we do this when we do this color study, because it would take too long. Mostly. And then let's take some red. Let's hit some of that red in these guys. And they get really all together back here, so. And we certainly do have a lot of those little reflections into the. If you go here. And then for the sky, I want some dark colors. I'm gonna use ultramarine with a little magenta, and maybe some Prussian blue in there too. That's pretty dark. All right, something like that. Yeah, that's nice. Ultramarine blue, there's a little magenta in there. So yeah, it's leaking out into the background, that's nice. We'll get more into the emotion of the watercolor and stuff like that when we do the finish. Right now we're just looking for color selections, that's all. Something like this. It's kind of nice. There's always the option of maybe Prussian blue, throwing a little Prussian blue in there occasionally too. So ultramarine blue, magenta, and maybe a little Prussian blue here and there. I think it's a little lighter in there. And I'm going to come down to this little strong, pretty strong down into there. I'm avoiding out this light here. Go right over these, a little bit lighter over these guys in here. There's that white sign. And I'm just thinking horizontal, right? Like that. And that's what gives you the feeling of reflections. Put some of that down there. Here's that sort of mid-tone. I put a little too much red in front of that big white thing right there. I'll look to avoid that on the finish. And we'll put these in a little bit lighter. There. We've got a couple of these little windowy things in there. You throw that down. And then when I throw it down like that, in the reflection, I then come back and I hit a couple of horizontals in it, see? Like that. I usually do it kind of quickly. Like this. So I'll just throw it down like this and I'll go. I like to keep it really sketchy, like my name. Really. And so this one would go straight. And so if I throw it down into there, I just, and it'll be easier to make it look like water when we do it all wet into wet. Okay. Let's get our dark people in there. Any dark color you like would be fine. I'm using Prussian and red, cad red. Okay, let's get my tip really thin. And so the only way I can get these to have hard edges is to be working on a dry surface. So hopefully in our finish we'll time it so we'll do these last, or close to the end anyway, and they'll be on something dry or pretty dry, and we'll get fairly hard edges. I'll just throw the reflection down to there and just Prussian blue and red make it really nice. Really nice dark. So in these sort of color ranges, I know there's some little halftones in here. Back here. It's just to kill the white in some certain areas. And I know there's some stronger reds in the ground and things like that. Let's see if I can get those nice and strong. There we go. Just putting those in nice and strong. these, huh? A little more red. Big one in the foreground. Red's back here too. So there's our little notes. Think of them as colored notes. In general. Okay. That works. Sometimes people think, well, why do a value study? I mean, this has good values in it, right? And they say, yeah. And they go, well, why do the value study? And they go, well, it just helps. But oftentimes I don't even do a value study. I just go right into this. And oftentimes I don't even do a color study. I just do the value study, and I don't need a color thing. So I just do it. So it really is kind of up to you the way you want to do it. The reason I do it this way is just because I'm showing off. No, I'm just joking. The reason I'm doing it this way is because it's more of a complete thought. All right, and I think it's worth it. Let me scale this out a little bit. And I'm gonna work vertically. Put this over here. Come on. Lost my brush under my desk. Oh boy, I gotta break my back getting it. Where are you? Oh, it's buried in there. Nothing but wires, and looks like spaghetti down there with all those wires. Okay, let me zoom out a little bit more. Is that good? Yeah, about like that. So in other words, for me to get it to read vertical, I've got to really zoom out on this so you see the whole thing. But by the way, I just prepped a little board before class. This is just cardboard, see? Just a piece of cardboard. I put that on the back to keep it from warping. It's supposed to work anyway. I don't know if that actually works. But anyway, I covered it with gesso, and then I put a little bit of matte medium on top. And that should be good. It's a nice little board to work with. All right, so let's do the same thing. We've got the halfway point here. So I thought I'd show a little bit more of the ground. Like there's our halfway point, and a little off center, like right over there would be fine for our vanishing point. Okay, and then we did the bottom of our buildings. I'm sorry, yeah, the bottom of our building, somewhere in there, yeah. Okay, I gotta quit touching everything. I'm getting gook everywhere. And then here's the bottom, and I want some storefronts to come up about that high. And what you could do is we can start anywhere actually. A lot of people like to start with the outside contour of it, so I think that would be a good idea. Maybe I want it to go about like this. And there's that little header thing. Something like that. And it kind of comes back like that. And then we have our next building. And we'll say it starts here. Something like that. just kind of frame them out first like this. Because once we get them all framed out, it's a lot easier. I know there is some weird perspective. I see some angles of the buildings that are kind of strange. But you know, most in a normal city street or something, they would be parallel. So, all right, so we'll put another little building right next to it like that. And let's just keep it simple. We'll just put them all in a row. Now we'll make this next one a little bit wider. See? And that makes it feel like it's coming at us. And then this we'll just leave. There, it looks like there's a couple little things up above, and you can throw those in if you like. Just as the lines that are going backward, you know, that are going, they all go to this point. Or pretty close to it. Again, with that sign, and let me put it a little higher up in the air. Judge about how wide you want your sign to be. And then if there's the top and bottom right there, then just take those down to the point like that. And that's your sign right there. And you see how I'm not perfect with it? You don't have to be perfect. Usually it's better if you're not. I could get all I could get my T-square out here, you know, and get all. And a great example, the other day, Lance in my class, who's an architect, he did all of his and he knows how to do this kind of stuff out of his. I mean, he could do it blindfolded, but you know, he did it with a ruler, and he did it all perfect. And we were just looking at it. He said, you know, I don't want it to look this perfect. I wanted to have some movement, you know. I go, yeah, that's the fine artsy fartsy part. You gotta satisfy. So that's why he's in the class. So yeah, it's got the opposite problem of a lot of people. Most people have the problem of drafting, you know, and he is a draftsman, so. And see, he has a hard time getting loose. You all could say, oh, let me show you how to get loose. I can show you that. Okay. We've got this little white building in the back here. I sort of want to encompass that and make a big deal out of that, because that does create quite a big reflection down here on the ground. In fact, all this stuff, we could just take all these lines straight down. Notice how I'm not being all perfect. A couple of these, this will mostly be covered up, but we could just throw a couple lines toward there, a couple of these lines toward there. You'll see how you don't have to be all exact with this. What I liked about this was the abstraction to it. So we do have this orange post right here. It is kind of a big statement. So let's just bring that down. It's got kind of a wide base, and we can throw that in there and just throw that down. Just indicate. There's a couple other lines in here. I don't know if I can even see them in there, but I'll show you how. We'll just use some calligraphic strokes. It'll look like a bunch of stuff, you know? So I see a couple of little lines in here, little highlights and whatever on there in the walkway. So these lines, these are just sort of guidelines, okay? All right. And then we've got our big, let's say our main lantern is about here. I'll put it about there. Maybe it's a little wider. I'm not taking a really close look at these. What do they look like? Yeah. All right. Yeah. So they're a little oblong. They're not a perfect circle, something like that. And believe me, you do not have to be perfect with these, okay? And maybe something a little bit bigger here. Something at the top. Maybe something at the bottom. You can put those in if you like. Maybe a couple of overlapping. Remember, I was looking for that sort of swoop. They just call this a line of direction. Actually, I don't know what they call it. I just made that up. Sorry. I'm like, what? I'm getting in trouble here because I don't even know what I'm saying. Line. It's a line of vision. It's a line of something. I know it's a line of something. Okay.
Line of sight.
Line of sight. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, maybe another one over here. Maybe a big old giant one. I don't know. We'll see. But I do want them getting a little smaller as they get back here. And then back here, you don't really need to draw circles around all of them. We'll just lob them in with a paintbrush. But we're just, mainly this is just to show us our line of sight. It's out of sight. A couple more back there. And then maybe what we'll do is have a couple way off over here, maybe coming out of the piece. Just for the negative shape, see? There we go. Maybe something out here coming out of the piece, I don't know. Just some suggestions, I might not even use them. Might paint right over them. I don't know what this painting is going to look like. I sort of have a plan. I mean, you just saw my plan. And I'm just going to go with it. And a darkie in there, which is usually how I paint everything, by the way. Usually I just go to a site and I just start going. That is pretty typical. I love to get myself in trouble with the and then I have to figure it out somehow. And sometimes I lose and sometimes I'm all successful. Usually I'm just happy I pulled it off. Okay, so I'm going to pull this umbrella, which I would just lay it out like a big triangle first. And the other one too, just a big like triangle. And then we can put all kinds of, you can do this to it. You don't have to make that noise. I don't even know if that is a noise, is it? It goes like that. Maybe it goes round. But I just that umbrella shape gives people problems. So here's how I do it. Watch. I just lay it out like a big triangle, right? And then I'll just take a little thing and I'll go like this and give it a couple of swoops. And then depending on the type of umbrella it is, maybe it's kind of round. Maybe it is. Some of them are very triangular and some of them have a little thing coming out of the top, and depending on how much, you could even put those in there, but I'm not going to bother. But if you start out with that triangle to kind of encompass it, it really helps, I think. Okay, so sometimes when I'm drawing the people, I might think, okay, in proportion to this, I think I want my person to be I want their feet to come down to about there. Okay, so that can help. And then another thing that can help you is probably just boxing the person in. So maybe you don't want their elbows to come any wider than that. Maybe on this one, something like that. And that gives you some parameters right there. Or I can zoom in on this. So I just set them up like that. And I really don't think of them as people. I mean, any viewer is going to look at this and they see something dark under an umbrella shape. It's got to be a person. I mean, you don't have to be as specific with this as you think. So I can indicate a little head, maybe some shoulders, arm, arm comes in, a dress shape, and just like, I mean, you don't even have to draw them just like the person. But I do like that this one has 2 legs and this one looks like it only has 1. So maybe this one's straighter, maybe this one's taking a little bit of a thing. And that doesn't have to be perfect either, because we'll do a lot with the drawing. And with the painting, I'll take this down to there, out, in, the dress, something like that, and then the umbrella. And you certainly could stretch this out more, because it looks like it is stretched out a little bit. We could certainly stretch all that out a little bit. Something like that. Oh, what's all this? Wow. Got lead all over this thing. Weird. Where did that come from? Okay. And I have another one here. Head, narrow shoulders. Got a little bag off to the side there. Carrying your little briefcase here. And just kind of a little V shape for the feet. And you could even notice there's a little shoe in the back if you like. You want to get, I wouldn't put any more detail into it than that. I mean, you could notice that there's a little hand in there if you like. And there's faces, but there's hands over here too. I don't think it's really necessary. I'll just put those on there. Probably end up taking them out. All right. And some umbrella shapes. We'll keep those all. Oh, I should zoom out, huh? Pretty loose. There we go. Pretty loose. Yeah, we're almost done with the drawing. I could have put the people closer together, huh? I guess that's okay. And you know, there are some people in the background too. Whoa. I'm zooming into this thing and it went crazy on me. So if you want, get another pencil here. Let's say our ground was about here. You could put some people back here, and you know, I would just treat them, maybe they're about this big. I would just treat them like this. Once you put the little, this over their head, see? And give it a little bit of a dress or something like that. And that's just about all you need, you know? A little bit of this, a little bit of that, and we'll throw a little down into the ground. Maybe they have a friend beside them or something. Maybe they have another, maybe a little, you know, you can make all that up as you go. There's definitely more people. I see people way back here, little silhouettes. They're great. Dark on light over here. Just put where you want the feet to be, where the head's going to be. And the nice thing is if you kind of draw it out like this with your pencil, then when you paint it in, you don't really even have to think. But truthfully, a lot of times when I'm painting, I don't even draw them in. I just put them in like little dots, little calligraphic dots. But this can help. Occasionally you'll have a little, like a dark frame up here. There's a little light that they're silhouetting up against. That's nice. All right, so there's the base. I think we're just about done here. But all I was looking for. There's all these white things too, little white lights. I need you to draw little balls around every single white light on there. No, I'm just joking. Let's get to painting here. Come on. Because that's crazy. Wait, hold on a second. Oh, it's not going to give me. Okay. I'm just trying to see what this looks like through my viewer. Okay, so I'm too zoomed in. Okay. All right. Now, you can use you can just spritz this down this way, like that. Or you can take some water and a brush, and let's just wet this thing. I got some paint in there. Just wet this thing. Take
The whole thing?
Yeah, the whole thing. Your paper might buckle. If you're using a block, this will really help you. That'll really help you. I'm not using a block, but sometimes people do this thing they call wet stretching your paper. I'm not really doing that either. People have all kinds of techniques for this. I've seen people use a piece of plexiglass and they'll wet the plexiglass first. They'll put the wet paper right on there and then just paint it right on the wet plexiglass, and it just kind of sticks to it, which is really awesome.
No, but I'd like to mention the brush you're using is a triple stain, soft brush, gold hair brush.
It's just perfect for this.
Yeah, that's what I'm using. Coincidentally, the same. I'm using the same. I just surprised that we did the same thing.
We're working. We have a like mind. Okay. And let's just start this thing off. I'm using some, let's see, I've got ultramarine and Prussian blue. Hopefully this guy will be done outside my window here in a second. Gosh, I thought it was done earlier. And
Rob, are you going back to your regular brush now?
not for the big stuff. I think I'll lay this in like that. You know, we'll just ultramarine blue, Prussian blue, and magenta. You see how I'm not worried about this? Ooh, look at that. Look how gorgeous that is. Ooh. Just painting around them. You don't have to use a brush like this. I mean, I could have easily used this brush. So, it just happens to be the one in my hand, actually. I mean, if you want to know why I usually choose things, I don't have a preference really for this one or that one. I mean, I could. Let's see. I could definitely be throwing these in there like that, no problem. Just go around all these. Make yourself a big sloppy mess. Right, and these are pretty, we can go over that too, so let's get that red in there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to really load up my brush here, get a whole big chunky bunch of red on there, and look how thick I'm putting it on there. Look at that. And see how it pushes all the stuff away? Because I have more paint on here than there is in the background. It just pushes it away like that. Okay?
What color red, Rob?
Cad red.
Thanks.
Don't worry about it, okay? Please. Don't worry, because you'll have your drawing in there. And this right here, I could like come and wipe that out or something, but we're gonna hit a little white on these things too, so don't worry about it. I don't want to put it right in front of my white here because I want that white to pop. If it does though, and it probably will, I'll just put a little white gouache in front of that. See, we're getting all this abstraction. Look at that. It's the glow I want, I'm more than I want it to look like a lantern. I'm looking for the glow. Now watch, just to show you what I mean, I can take the same brush, see this is just this brush, I could do that down here too. I just happen to have, I happen to have the other one in my hand. I happened to have that one in my hand. Okay. That was mostly Prussian in that one. I'm gonna go for some ultramarine. Some of that magenta too. Put into those little guys there. Starting to warp on me a little bit. Sometimes when the paper warps, what you can do is just, and don't use your fingertips because they have oil in them, but I can just kind of push that up like that and just scooch it under. Just scooch it under. There we go. And it stretches out a little bit more. Of course, I get paint all over my hands, but oh well. Wouldn't be the first time. Has there ever been a time I painted where you didn't see me with paint on my hand? There's some magenta I'm throwing in there. Oh boy, this is fun. Oh boy. Have to say, am having a blast. There's that sort of orange thing there, I'll leave that. We have this thing, sort of header thing there. And it goes down in this direction toward the point, so see, that dried up on me pretty quick. So I just need to reactivate that with a little bit of water. There we go. And that whole area must not have got enough water on over here. And that happens, you just add water. There we go. we're just gonna take this right over the, what do you call them? Umbrellas and stuff. I'll leave this area kind of white here. So I'm getting jiggy with the edges there. There you go. Bit back here too. Just want to put the little light next to that. I like that. And we'll just want that to be a little lighter. I want that to come way down here too. There we go. Nice. And so anytime I put a little line in here like that, I just want to take it straight down into the reflection. Straight down into the reflection there. If it gets too dry on you, just wet it again. This area got dry on me. Let's go for some of that orange and yellow. Just cad red, cad yellow. She's got that orange behind her. I like that. I'll throw some of that back there. I'm gonna shoot it down behind her. Maybe really pop it in there. Looks good. I'll bring it right behind her too. Just you can paint it right over because it's gonna be all dark. I'll put a little bit more of that. I got kind of green on me. I like it. Kind of changed the color. It's one of those little happy accidents. I would have liked to change the color on my own, but the painting said, "No, I'll do that for you, Rob." They start talking to you after a while. That's when you need to start seeking professional help. Stick that down here. Or maybe everybody else does. There we go. Let's take it down there like that. And you see, as I come back over, I can just zigzag a little bit. We'll go over these too, you'll see. It's watercolor. Nothing set in stone. But as you can see, I'm just looking at I see a really small, this is really small up on my screen. Like the little thumbnail there, and it's starting to pop already. There's some good stuff in there. I'm gonna put some orange on this before it goes away. I just cad yellow, cad red, cad yellow. And that's all I'm interested in is a little breakup of color through there. Just popped a little over there too. There's a little bit of a highlight in there. Pop that in there. Pop it down here. Sometimes if you're going over dark stuff like this, sometimes you gotta really blast it. And I do like the color being right behind the person. I know by experience that that's a good effect. So some of this red too, I want to take behind this person. While I'm thinking about it. So all that stuff, and let's just wet the area first. Because I'm pretty sure it's dried up. We can throw some of those little pew right behind it, you know. some of these little, since it's on my brush, by the way, I don't always have a particular time for all these things. I just, you know, if it's on my brush, I'll use it. We have some of these, and you'll want to overlap them, you know. Make sure they're not all beside each other. Just like that. And they get a little larger as you get in the foreground. They're kind of small back here. There's that little figure too. I'll put that red behind them, behind his reflection. Oh, what fun this is. Okay. And why did I leave that white? I don't know. Oh, I think I just wanted some white behind the reflection, huh? I think I want the yellow there. Just take that red into that yellow. Just let it do its watercolor thing. I'm not even going to touch that. It's going to be gorgeous. Now we need some little silhouettes on the store fronts. So I'm just looking for a dark value here. I'm using red and cad red and ultramarine blue. And I'm just going to throw a couple of these little storefronts on stuff like that. There's some verticals in there. Up here the values get really dark up here, so we'll glaze all that down later. And all this really dark. I'll just group all that like that. And then you see I'm putting these little horizontal marks in there? And plus it's just gonna spider web out there, you know, like it's gonna bloom. There we go. Something like that. Or just think of some of these little vertical bars going down here. Ground texture there. Put a little water on there. Turn it over those people. Okay. Something like that in there. You really won't see that in the reflection too much. Just a little bit of this. And you know, there's stuff over here too. There's dark stuff back there. I'm seeing some more lanterns over there. I wouldn't mind there being a little bit more lanterns over there. Just put them in there. Another reason to throw some stuff on the ground. Just remember, if it gets too dry, just reactivate it. I see a few little verticals in here. I'll just pull those straight down into the water. To the wet. So when I throw it down like this, I usually hit a couple little jiggies in it. And then I'm just noticing there's my little point. I just want a couple of little lines. Just kind of taking us back to the point. Look at that. Ooh, that's neat. Okay, let's do our figures. Go figure. I'm just put that down there like that. Turn the rounds off a little bit. You can keep those pretty loose. My edges are sort of dry brushed. And that's it. That's it. If you want to put a little on top. And then, I think this one needs a bit bigger on this person. There we go. It's still a little damp, so I might get soft edges around there, and if I do, it might look great. If it gets too soft and it starts to dissipate in the background too much, I'll just come back and clean up those edges later. Either way is no problem. Kind of dry brushing that in. And putting them in pretty horizontal, and then we have this sort of umbrella-esque shape, which I think I want this to stay wet. Got dry on me down there. Kind of worked over here though. Oh. Just keep reactivating the page if it's getting too dry for you. See, when I put in these squiggly marks, I make sure they're pretty horizontal. It reminds us that the ground is flat. Kind of like that. Those are too tight. You can just take a little bit of water around the edges like that. See that? Just a little bit of water. And loosen up those edges to your liking. Something nice and dark in there. I'll paint right over their hands, I don't care. Wish there was redder behind there. There. These edges are really tight back here, so I'm just going to take a little water on the outside. Loosen them up a little bit. Let's see. You know, if I'm going to put that red back there, I should have put it back here. Just like that. You know, if you want to, you can take and make a few of these lanterns kind of with a little bit more definition in them. And then I just take a little water around the outside like this, like that. They're pumpkins in the sky, that's what they are. If you want any of this darker, you can do that. Throw a glaze on there. Maybe all that gets pretty dark. That's just ultramarine blue. Throwing a little bit of magenta in there too. Certainly just leave it like that, or come in with a little bit of water and soften edges as you like. I sort of like the glow in the sky too, of the red, so I don't want to kill them all. I have a lot of these little reflections and things in here. And I don't think I put enough any darker walls and things in here. Make the lights look lighter. Things like that. And then you just come back in. Maybe I should wet this first. Yeah. Just come back in here and let's wet all that first. And I can just take that and that's probably Maybe that's too wet. I'm gonna get my thing on there. Okay, we'll try that. Still pretty wet. I'll go with that. And the water just does the rest. I'll throw some of that yellow down in here, and orange. And we just happened to be on my brush. I saw a couple little reflections in the window. It kind of made me think, oh, maybe I should throw some of that in there. No other reason than that for putting that in there. I want this to be darker. I just use the same colors. Ultramarine blue, Prussian blue, and a little magenta. There we go. And so as you throw these in, then you can just give yourself a couple of these horizontal marks. Sometimes they get really hard edged too. You want to keep them a little softer. By just adding a little water. Oh, that red up there too, huh? One thing about your cadmium red is that it's fairly opaque. But just see, look at that. Just blast them in there. I'm just going full force with this, right out of the tube. Kaboom! It is fun. I'm just gonna tickle the edges here, just tickle, tickle. Just want to feel like you gotta bring them out, you know? You gotta get horizontal with them. Yep, and a couple little darks back in there. Just reinforcing things. We have a couple of figures in the background here too. Let's just and get kind of hard edges there, so we take a little bit of water on the edge and pull it down a little bit further. Hey, look, Henry, I'm doing your thing. I didn't even know about it. Look. I should just do that, huh? All right. Maybe not. All right. Umbrellas. Umbrellas. You can put these people anywhere you like. You just look nice up against something kind of light. We're not looking for definite figures. We're just looking for something sort of figural. That's all. They're just props, you know? That's all. Need some water on that edge. Oh. That's all. He's kind of big, isn't he, for being back there? That's a big dude. So either make them bigger or make him smaller. Maybe have his feet right there. And then it's kind of spotlit with all that, and that could be fine. If it's detracting, you know, too much, I'll just put something in the background, take the emphasis off him. A little bit of very thinned out Prussian. A little bit of that in there. A little more. Felt like I needed something cool in that area. Obviously I didn't see that up there. And that's what you do. Once you learn that you can really do almost anything you want in these reflections and and you can put any color of light in these windows. I mean, make it yours, you know? That's why, I mean, this is a royalty-free or copyright-free photo, and I think I've changed it enough. Anyway. Yeah. Little hard line around there. Just gonna create a little bit more of a glow. That's just the CAD red. That'll dry into hardly anything. So I'm putting it on pretty thick. I'm laying it on pretty thick, as you guys know. Yeah, as if it's giving off a little bit of a glow. Maybe even a little bit of yellow in that. I don't know. Let's see. Ooh, that's neat. I have no reason to do that except for I just wanted to. And then I'm going to take a few little dry brushy things over, see? Just pull them out real light. Just to break up the stagnant quality of this white. Little halftones. Looks like they're bank tellers or something in the background. Oh, get your money here. Right there. Won't be too big of a deal out of them, but some sort of indication of a reflection there. And see, I'm just pulling a few little things. See how they just pulling a few little edges over here and there. keep them really horizontal too. Try not to let your angles go too much of an angle like that. Keep them nice and horizontal. Sometimes it gets your elbow in a weird position too, so. So you may have to move or maybe stand. Put some of these darks up in here. I just want to hit a couple of these darks up in there. They say things like reflections and looking into a fire, like a cookie, like a, what do you call it, like a fireplace or something. Things like that. There's something, because of the randomness of it, we're just mesmerized. We're mesmerized by that. That's what you want. It's just so great to get lost in this stuff, isn't it? Isn't it the best? I think it's the best thing in the world. I mean, awesome. I liked it so much that I wanted to spend the rest of my life doing it. I remember when I was about 19, and of course I was doing art and everything. I just didn't think I could make a living doing this, so I figured I'd keep it as a hobby. So actually, even though I was winning all these competitions in high school, regional and national and all kinds of weird stuff, and people, you should see my yearbook. I should read you my yearbook. It's hilarious. Like, everyone knew I was going to be an artist except me. I always thought it was just kind of a joke. And then I started thinking, maybe I'll do this stuff. But yeah, when I was about 19, I thought, well, what really did it was I got a job as a, oh, by the way, I'm using white now. Sorry. I'm using this white. I'll put that sign in there, just like this. And like that, and then just like that. I got a job as a architectural renderer. And that made me say, I think I would do better at this. So I started taking class at Art Center at night, back in the 80s. Can I just tickle the edges? Okay. And that led it, kind of snowballed into a whole bunch of things. Then when I was at Art Center, I found out I'm already doing all this commercial stuff. You're teaching me all this commercial stuff. I've been doing that. I want to learn about the art stuff, the fine art. So I started taking more fine art classes. And it just snowballed from there. I got good old Richard Bunkle. He was the best. He was teaching there at the time. And he got me into galleries, and that's what really... All right, so we have a couple little highlights in here. Watch, just smack them like that. Come back in here and smack them like that. Show them who's the boss, right? And then hit a couple horizontal like that. See, almost like calligraphy. You gotta smack them. I should have a little button over here that goes whoosh. Just for comedy, folks. Come on. We gotta have comedy. Something in there. Seen a couple of little flectamundo things in there. Some of that red too. I want some of that red in there. So I can just take a red, throw it in there, maybe a couple more, and it's a little hard edged. So I could just come back with a wet brush here and just messing with some. I think it needs to be wetter than that. What I'm going to do is surround it with a little bit of water first. Make it more random. There we go. There we go. Now hit the horizontals in there. I think they get a little bit stiff if you're doing it when it's really dry. You may feel like you have more control when it's dry, but the water wants to take it and play with it and move it around. And so you'll get a really stiff edge if you don't let the watercolor will rebel on you and give you a stiff edge. They'll say, hey man, I wanted to play around with that stuff. See, the painting starts talking to you. Okay. Yeah, and there's just calligraphic stuff in all these windows. I'm just putting water on there right now. I'm thinking there's just a lot of. In fact, I think there are some calligraphic signs hanging up there. But yeah, so I want to hit a few of those in there, just kind of near, just kind of. See, I'm just accenting and edging and that, just edge here and there. We'll take some of this back down into the water too. No worries. A little darker there. Could be darker. And you can use any little trick you want. Like, watch this, dot, dot. You know? Doesn't have to be perfect. Keep it all clumsy. Looks more natural. Maybe a person way back here. Maybe about that big, way back there. Just nothing but a couple of dots. Someone sitting at the ready teller. I need my money. You gotta buy an umbrella. Raining cats and dogs out here. Yeah, more of these. Pretty much can call this thing quits at any moment here. It's all loose. I mean, I know the photograph is all tight and just not the reason to paint. cropping photographs. It's the abstraction that I was after. That's what I wanted. You know what might be cool too is I do like those little lights. So what if I just take some white, you know, hit a couple here and there, just kind of dot them around. No big deal. They have soft edges because it's still all wet up there. And we could throw some down in here. Look, see what it does? Just sparkles. It's the twinkle. We like twinkles. So I'm just taking these and making them a little more horizontal. Just a little bit. And maybe I'll come back and pop a couple of those, or maybe not. Get yourself a nice I'll sign it right here in white. If it stands out too much, I'll just glaze it down.
Rob,
Yes.
would you ever use resist for some of those whites?
You could, but it's so slow. I mean, certainly could though.
So slow because for it to dry.
Just painting around everything is so fuzzy. I don't know. For me, it's too fuzzy.
Okay.
But I mean, you certainly can do that. Yeah, yeah. You know, I could stage this too. I noticed back here. We could do a little staging too, just by taking a little bit of color. I'm using magenta and see a little darker over there. Magenta and a little bit of ultramarine, and maybe back over here too. Maybe I don't want those to stand out so much. Just staging it a little bit. Yeah. Kind of there. A little dark so the whites aren't coming right off the page. I like that these guys are a little more spotlighted and this person's a little passive. All right. Yeah, we'll let that dry. If it's too bright, I'll just take a quick little glaze over it. Yellow or something like that. And then what you do is you do this. You hold it upside down. You look at it upside down for the abstraction, see? It's that, does it have the power and the movement and the contrast and the stuff that you were feeling? I mean, I like this way better than the photo because of the feeling it gives me. See, and I'll look at it this way, and I'll turn around and look at it in other ways. The other thing you can do is look at it like this, really foreshortened, like that. And that can make things pop out, you know. So there you go. Okie dokie.
I like your signature in white.
I know, I've never done it in white, huh? I was thinking about stamping Henry's thing in there in white. I've never done it. Think it'll work, Henry?
Unfortunately not. I think you can try, but make sure you wash it.
I was just gonna say, is that bad luck?
Oh, white ink. We don't have white. We do have all kind of ink, but red is
Well, I'll just do it in red.
most common. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. I'll put it right above that.
Yeah, it's opaque. It will cover.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let me see if I can.
Oh well.
It's
It blends right
hidden.
in. I don't think it was wet enough. I thought it was, but oh well. I should have wet it more.
That's
I'll get
okay.
it right when I've been getting it right usually. I thought there was more damp than that.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see, everybody. What do we got here? We've got a whole bunch already. A whole big bunch. Let's do this right here. Screen share. Louisa.
Am I the first one?
Hey, cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thanks.
That's all I was looking for. Was just some fun, washy, rainy looking stuff. That's great.
I was thinking about the rain.
I know, we could use some, huh? Okay, how are we doing? What do you think?
Yeah, it's sort of loose, but looking back, the bottom left, I should have been more horizontal, and then the squiggly horizontal little lines behind the two people with the umbrella should be a little more defined. It's sort of a blob right now.
Some squiggles.
Right, the reflection in the water. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it should be a little more defined. And perhaps compared to yours, you have a lot more contrast between, you know, more darks in the sky.
You're reading my mind. Perfect. Anything else?
I'm very tired right now. I've had a very long night, so I'm
All right.
I'm happy I painted. So thank you.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah.
Some darker darks up in there, up in the top and down here. I think would help you. And you know, I don't really have the right colors, but you know, not black. And right when you throw these down like this, let me do it this way. When you throw these down like this, then come back and squiggle them up horizontally.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Same with this one. Just. And you'd be surprised how loose you can be with them and get it. Honestly, one time I painted the city hall at night when it was raining. I mean, I did it from a photograph. I wasn't really going to stand out there in the rain and paint that thing. But I remember I was so loose with the ground, and it was totally working. I liked it better. So ever since then, when I paint rain, I paint it with a lot of looseness.
Yeah, on the left side, if I look at yours, yours look more like a night scene, whereas my left side, the windows of the shops, let's say, it's perhaps it's a little too light. It looks like it's daytime. and it should look more like it's nighttime, so I'm not sure.
Right, so I would get a little darker with some of these, you know,
Yeah.
a little darker. We just need more contrast in all of this and here. Just
That's right.
pop, you know, it's like you just haven't nailed your dark yet, and that's just fine. You don't have to. I mean, give a little time, put a little water on there, and put a couple of values on there. Really,
Right.
and then of course, you know, do your squigglies. But throw this on there. And when I throw that on there, I did throw it down.
Yeah,
I'll throw it on this way first, and then I'll throw it on this way.
right.
You know, I get those on there. So that would be like this.
Great.
Yeah. See how that just pulls you in? That's what we're doing. We're pulling the eye in with all these.
Yeah. Great. What I really enjoy doing the little silhouettes, especially the two far ahead and then the two closer and then the one.
Yeah.
That's something I would not have done in the past, so that's great. That's I like doing that.
Yeah, and wetting the whole paper.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no, I know somebody that does watercolors, and he wets the whole paper every time he paints. And then by the time the paper's dry, he's done. That's what he does. That's sort of his little claim to fame. He's a pretty interesting guy. And he uses two brushes when he paints, one on each hand. He just paints like that. It's really amazing to watch him. It's kind of you think it's kind of gimmicky, and then you look at his painting, you're going, that's pretty, this person really knows how to draw and paint. No joke. It's not just a gimmick. Although, there we go. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, more contrast.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That was wonderful. Charlotte. Oh, wow. Now you, you underpainted it, right? Or did you paint on a...
It's a real interesting process.
Uh-huh.
You put down gouache, dry it,
Wow.
put ink on top, and then you take the hose and blow off the ink.
Did you go outside and hit it with a hose?
Yes, and then the gouache appears.
No, Rob, I just pulled it in through the window and did it right all over my desk. No, I'm just joking.
And then you go, what you end up with is something abstract, and then I went back again with watercolor, just normal watercolor. And then at the end, I put the white gouache on because I wanted to pump up the center area.
Oh, wow.
But it's
So
a
you
little,
basically came up with a really textural middle tone, huh? To start off with?
well, you just end up with just something that you may not even want, but you have to keep
Yeah.
working with. I have to keep working with what I ended up with. But the ink, the gouache, is the resist for the black ink.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting. I just wanted to try it because it was a night scene.
Yeah. Yeah, and so did you put the white in and then go glaze over them with the yellow and the red?
No, the white was already there from blowing off the ink with the hose.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then I went back on top with watercolor. And then at the end, more gouache to bring out the white again.
Right.
And then I
Just
do
keep working those back and forth any way you like, yeah.
And then I do the ink. You know, I like the black ink lines on top of everything else. It was really fun. I had a great time.
Good.
I think
Well, it
you
looks
did
like you
too.
did. What was that? I'm sorry?
I said I think you had a good time too.
Oh, yeah. That was a party on a page, or a party on a page right there.
But this was experimental for me, and I
Yeah.
like the bright reds to come out a little bit more. I could go back with the gouache, but I can't find a bright red in gouache.
In gouache, yeah. I mean, you just
I don't know. It was fun. I
a cat red or something.
kind of like how it came out.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, if let's say you wanted more punch out of these reds,
Yeah, I do.
then just let it dry, and then you said if you can't get the punch out of a gouache, then what you do is you underpaint it in white. Let's say you underpaint it in white. You get some white till you get about the value, maybe a little bit brighter than the value you actually want, because it's going to get a little darker when you glaze it down. And then I come back over it with a color, and then I glaze that color over it. And if that's too washed out, I'll put another color over it.
I think I'm gonna put acrylic on it.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm gonna put acrylic on top of this.
Your creativity knows no bounds.
Well, the big issue was for me is to go around the figures with the white gouache and not make it look like I did that.
Oh, it totally looks like you. It looks like you painted the figures right over the white gouache. It doesn't look like you painted it right up to them.
I cut the figures out with the white gouache.
Cool.
I don't know, it's just a bizarre process, but I just was experimenting, and for night scenes, I think it will work.
Yeah, I like it.
The demo was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, see, that big orange looks wonderful up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to pump those up.
So if you don't have the right color, I just pump it up with white and then let it dry and then glaze over it, And you could do that with acrylics.
Yeah, or maybe a brighter watercolor.
Yeah. I mean, the acrylics has as much potency as watercolor. If you're going to do acrylics, feel free. The medium's up to you, But you can use acrylics just like watercolor.
If I put that big red up there, I've got to move it somewhere else.
Yeah. I was just showing it as a demo for
it looks good. But thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. All right, we got Claire. Oh, look, my light ended up right on yours.
Hi.
There it goes. There it is. Hello.
Hi.
Okay, nice. I especially like the red. The red pops.
That was difficult.
Yeah.
Just to get the shapes, like spaces, and then still have the black behind it, and it's not very dark, but
Yeah.
because it kept squishing or becoming not a more recognizable orb.
Yeah.
But at any rate, that was fun.
Well, good. Now, if you'll notice, they're not really overlapping each other that much. They're sort of kind of next to each other.
Yeah.
So if you do the clear overlapping thing, like if you have something like clearly overlapping or something.
Oh, okay.
And what you could do is just take what you have, and then maybe in the background, maybe you have one. Let me do red here. Maybe you have one in the background that's just kind of going like this.
Okay.
Behind, and it's not standing out as much. I should probably do that with let me try this other one here. Like that. Just something in the background. You only need like 3 of them maybe,
Okay. Just to give it a busier feel.
Yeah, well, I'm looking for some overlapping those, just so they feel like they're going back in perspective.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So if you had a bigger one up here in the foreground and keep them really small in the background, you have some nice medium ones here. So if you had a couple of big ones,
Okay.
maybe even like I took one right off the page there, but
No, I see that.
and they see how they fall into a straight line. So what I was thinking is maybe if you had one kind of over here, so it kind of,
Got it.
so we don't have that straight line.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't take very much work. I mean, all right, so, and then of course, get as fun and delicious with the paint down here as you like.
Yeah.
you think these could be a little darker?
Yeah, you know, I couldn't get them darker with my paints. I was Prussian blue and magenta, and I could not get it very dark. I actually added in some Chinese ink, you know, the little
Oh, yeah.
thick thing. So I ground a little of that up and added it.
So if you if you just get a pretty dry brush and don't get very much water on your brush. You need a little bit, but a little bit of water on the brush, like say a damp brush, and then take like Prussian blue. Maybe I put Prussian blue with a little red in mine, and put it on there pretty thick and sticky.
Okay.
That should get you pretty dark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just the figures and not the background, even though that's just as dark.
Yeah, just the figures, then maybe some of this too.
Okay.
You know, yeah, this you'll want to get darker as well.
Okay.
And you can adjust that value. It doesn't have to be black or anything. This seems to pop pretty decently. But anybody with a severe lighting in the background, you'll get a pretty dark silhouette usually, unless there's something lighting them from this angle. You know, from that angle, like a car's headlight or something.
I see.
It'll be pretty dark.
Okay.
And then, you know, I think these could be darker too. A lot of these, a little more contrast in your windows.
Okay.
You know, a little, just some of those little things all the way back.
Okay.
So a few of those. And I think on this side too, just a couple of marks. You wouldn't believe it. It just kind of pulls you back in space.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying.
A couple of those, yeah.
Yeah, I had a very hard time seeing the space on the right side. It's much easier on the left with the, you know, window shops lit up.
Yeah. So you can just get abstract with the things over here. You don't even have to really, you know, really make it into anything. All I was saying is, if you put a couple of these converging lines going down to the point,
Yeah.
a couple of these in there, and a couple of verticals, a couple of red reflections in the windows, possibly some of those little twinkly white lights, if you like.
Yeah.
And then I would definitely put more contrast in the sky, you know, around all this too,
Okay.
just to make it,
Yeah.
you know, right up against them there.
Okay.
Gives it a little punch. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. All right. Going to Michelle now.
Hey, Rod.
Hey, look at that. That looks like a party on a page right there.
It was a fun exercise.
I love it. I could see more red in the water, though. You put so much red in this guy, I could see more.
Yeah, I could, put more red reflections down there from the balloons or lanterns. Yep.
Yeah, I was thinking, you know, if you want, you know, just something in there.
Yep.
Some of that. Some of these darks from the umbrellas, you know, just because they're just going to kind of go into nothing.
Yeah.
See what you did right here? Look, because you took the white over the red, that looks very effective. Let's take a good look at that here. Because you pull them over, the overlapping. See, now I'm thinking about taking a little bit of white over mine now that I see that you're doing that. Yeah. See, that's right in here too. This is very effective.
Okay. Thanks.
Very, very effective. All that.
So I could actually probably do that down in front too. Pull that red in there and then pull the
Sure.
darks in there and just a little hint of that not too much, but yeah, okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good move. That's a good one. I like it. Yeah, and I like how you you have all these lines going around everything too. You really got into line work on this, which is
Yeah, and you know, I don't know, I don't like something very well, and that's my go-to technique, and I don't,
yeah.
I almost feel like it's a crutch, but I don't know.
Well, look at every darn artist. Look at all these Renaissance painters. They're all the lines all over their work.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. I mean, we use lines to clear things up, you know? Usually it's your brain telling you, I need something, it's kind of mushy over here. Things aren't making sense and I need to make sense out of it, so I use a little line work to describe edges. That's all.
Yep.
You know, it becomes another tool in your tool chest. You know, so I know I always talk about shape, value, color, and edges, but there's also line, pattern, texture. You know, there's all kinds of things we can play with. So line's a biggie, and lines, you know, among some artists, lines like their number one thing. So, all right.
All right, thanks, Rob.
Love it. Love that really vertical look there too. Really vertical. I don't think I have to tell you about contrast. You're the contrast queen.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Rob.
All right, thank you. And Alice. All right, that pops.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that pops. If anything, nice color. I like the mood. You notice how the red, yellow, and blue statements, they really just give you a lot of activity.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun. I think the more of these pictures and the way you paint,
Yeah.
it really kind of, for me, I'm starting to absorb more and more how to loosen up and not worry so much of where the road ends and what the vanishing point is and all those technical things. It takes away from the fun, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I notice a lot of technical paintings, they're impressive, but they're not all that enjoyable to look at sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes they are. I mean, some people do it all. But now you see this dark you have right here?
Yeah.
This dark. I would put some more dark on this side and just bring it out into the sky.
Okay.
Just to pop some of these, you know, maybe. And you're right, it does get lighter down here, but I mean, especially up here, I might use some color, like you did here, this color, this sort of a bluish in there.
Right.
Yeah, some color in that. All right, figures look cool. I like how they're kind of stylized. I prefer that actually. So, but I wouldn't mind you getting as dark in the reflection as the figures are.
Oh yeah.
Really get them dark.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a difference. I think it brings it close. It makes it more cohesive.
Yeah. Maybe that's a little thin. I don't know, but it's kind of stylized. I like that. Feels French. I don't know why. Yours looks really complete too. This is a really nice area. You should be happy. I'd be proud of this area right here. That's a really nice area.
Thank you.
Very complete looking. And your little horizontal marks, the little white squigglies too. You left a lot of white. I could have done a lot more of that too. I think that is effective. That's very effective, all this. And I love these little silhouettes. You know, look at this ball right here. I didn't even take a good hard look at that. Let's take a look at that. Let me crop in on that here. You know, I like the ball. Clear the drawings there, because it almost looks like it's lit up from within, but it also looks like there's a light coming and hitting it. There's sort of a light. It almost looks like the light's hitting right here, and it's going into shadow over there, like a little cast shadows on it. And it looks, I don't know, you got a really nice looking effect in there.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. And then coming down here and silhouetting this up against the windows there was a great idea. I wish I had done that. Because then you have the light ones over here up against the dark background, right? And
Yeah.
now here you have the dark one up against the light background. That's very effective.
Okay, wow, thank you.
Well, you're pulling out all the stops on this one.
I
See, the
guess
other thing
so.
about it is, it's not that they're all perfectly photographically executed. They don't have to be. It's that
Yeah.
you made a design decision there. That is a design decision to pull this dark in front of the light and have these lights in front of the dark. That just tells me, you know, you're growing, you're experimenting, you're trying new things. You know, I mean, that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
That's what you
Oh,
do.
thank you.
Yeah, I'm all about that. Dark on the light on the dark, and this sort of cast shadow you have going over this lantern right here really is effective. Oh,
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to give
Yes.
it a three-dimensional look than just
yes.
a red spot.
Yep.
But on the other hand, I like the way you paint it because that is so so organic and watery from top to bottom. You know, it's just
Yeah.
beautiful. I love that.
So yeah, you know, technically I like my painting, but design-wise, I like what you're doing there. You're playing up on this vertical here with this vertical this whole vertical. This round breaks up this straight. This nice. Nice little silhouettes down here too. Little red silhouettes.
Sorry, my phone's ringing.
So, okay, that's good enough. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. And Robin. Hey, you got the Starry Night going. I want to get a little bit more of that twinkle in my piece. That twinkles. That's nice.
Yay.
Nice dark silhouette. I like your little soft edges around these down here. And let's see. Whoops. Wait. Okay, I can see. Whoops. I really like these light lanterns on this darker background. And I could see, you know, a little bit more of those. You know, if you want to, I might try them. I mean, you could still go over this with white, if you like, and maybe really hit them nice and hard, and then come back with a little bit of the red on them.
Yep,
Yeah, you got an orange in there too. I like that.
that's much better.
Just brings a little bit of that down into the water, and you can get all squiggly with it, you know. And you know, the white stars, don't even worry about it. It'll look good right into it. Certainly could be reflected right over them. Let's see. What I might do here is something dark, not that wide. Just like a little something going to your vanishing point. You got a vanishing point right around there, so just something on the ground, a little bit of something down there telling us where our ground is. And it doesn't have to be dark or anything like that. Just a little dividing line, that's all.
Yeah.
And I can see a little more contrast out here. I'll never be able to do it with this little brush though. Like you did down here. See, you put that dark down here?
Yeah.
I would definitely go nice and dark up here.
Okay.
That's about it though. How about you? Do you have any questions?
Well, I just kind of really took me by surprise when you put the dark buildings down first at the top and then drop the red into the dark. So that was totally new to me, and it really works great because you get all those fuzzy edges with the lanterns.
Oh yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that was very helpful. And I'm still kind of like my head it gets a little lost with all the reflections and everything. And
Yeah.
I think it's simple is really good. I can't wait to put those lanterns in because what you just did looks so much better.
Whoops, I should have put that back there, huh? There we go. Yeah.
That looks great.
Well, good.
So anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you. I heard someone take a photograph.
That's me.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Uh-huh. We got Betsy. Ooh, we got some gouache on there today.
Yeah.
It's like a gouache lesson, huh?
Yes. Well, it was just the white. Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. See, that's the thing. If you have white gouache, you can put it on anything, and then you can let it dry, and then you can glaze it any color you want. It's like going back to the white of the paper, really. And you can really do anything with it. You can paint neon lights with it if you like. So looks really really cool. Again, I could probably see a little more red in the water. Let's see. And what you could do is just, you already have a lot of white on there. So here and there, I might just touch little pieces of red in there.
Okay.
Let's see, a little bit bigger than that.
Like I did down below. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, just some more red here and there. You know, just really showing us that there's these red things in the sky that are being reflected down into it. This is really pretty. Wow. You know, I'm constantly looking at reflections thinking how much they look like a watercolor.
Yeah, the left side, the buildings look really stiff to me, so I don't know what to do there.
Here?
Yeah, all of that looks, so it was really wet when I hit it in the first place, and that kind of was a problem.
So if you hit this dark, I'll wet the area and then hit this dark here, and then I'll come back with some horizontal and just kind of shift it around.
Okay.
And that usually loosens it right up. Like this stuff doesn't bother me. Maybe it's because it's all in one line.
Uh-huh.
You know, you could kind of break that up a little bit here and there if you like. Maybe make one a little bit lower. You know, just to break up any kind of straight line. You know, because you got this line. Wait, no, I'm sorry. That's the reflection. Wait, now they're standing here, so. And your reflection would be down here, wouldn't it? Let's see. If they're standing here.
They're standing on that edge.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. I don't want to get any technical. So yeah, just throw it down there with, make sure it's wet. And it doesn't have to be, you know, now the more wet, the more it's going to take off. So kind of damp. Throw some of those on there. Really nice and horizontal. I think that'll loosen it up.
Okay.
And these edges too.
Okay.
These edges I wouldn't. I might go a little darker with this top here.
Okay.
Although this one right here looks like it's emulating light, and I think that looks cool. And there probably would be a light under there. Anyway, these are great. What do you think about a little more contrast, a little more pop?
I could. Yeah.
Up in here and then back in here and kapow up in there.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's what gives you all the sort of twinkly lights is the contrast. Okay, looks nice.
Okay, great.
I like
Thank
it.
you.
I like those silhouettes. Thank you. Okay, we got Francis. All right. Got a lot of good stuff going on in here, Francis.
Thank you.
A lot of good stuff.
this was kind of scary for me to put the water on the paper and then be willing to let the paint do its thing because I'm too much in trying too hard to control it rather than just let it.
Yeah. Well, it's a dance. You do control it.
Yeah.
And you definitely you do control it, but you also got to let it do its own thing, and that's why I like to push you guys into these things, because the more you get comfortable with doing this kind of thing, the more you see it's not really as hard as you might think. You can let a lot of things just go into abstraction, and just realize that it's the abstraction that your eyes actually attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I can see a little more red in the reflections. Let's see, from all this red up in here, I can see that, you know, down into here.
Okay.
A little bit more, a couple of those. I could possibly see a little more contrast in these. Just a little bit more. And the sky, you know, I could see a little bit more. I mean, I could see you also keeping it lighter toward the bottom. Maybe just a little more at the top as it gets down below.
Okay.
The way you handle these whites in the sky was really nice. I like that.
Thank you.
And so then I might take those down into the, you know, down into this too, and just
Okay.
and then squiggle those up. Give it some action. Give it some. I mean, it's a night everybody's out on the town. But what do you think about also taking in some of these yellowy oranges down into your reflections and stuff like that?
Okay. Yeah. I see.
Yeah, just hit them down in there. Make sure you might want to make it damp first. Just dampen the area. Throw it down in there.
Okay.
Red's a little strong, but trying to make some of these oranges.
Okay.
I love it. I could even see some dark, a couple of little, like there's that one orange over here. I think I saw, but and then now let's put that dark lantern right in front of that orange thing. I might have to do that myself. She did a dark one like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good move.
Look good. Yeah.
Some darks in there, really nice and dark. Punch it. And you know they could have some little twinkly lights reflected into those as well. And by the way, if you make them dark, make sure the reflections are dark too.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Oops. Okay, Toby. See now, look. See how she wasn't so tight with the edges on these figures, and I think that feels real easy and loose. Let's see. You know, maybe a little darker down in here. Some of those. You there, Toby?
Yeah, hi. Yes.
Yeah. So possibly a little bit of there. And you got enough red down here, good. And looks contrasty enough. If anything, maybe a little more contrast up in here, but that's totally up to you. I think it's just fine the way it is. Are you having any problems or anything, any issues?
Oh, I don't know. It didn't. It's kind of a disaster, but that's okay. It was a fun disaster.
Now, what you can do is, let's say, for instance, if this area got a little mushy, which I don't know what it looks like, that looks like it's still wet. So But if it got a little mushy, what you can do is just come back and throw a couple of, maybe kind of cleaner lines in there. And pull it right down into there. So you wouldn't believe how you can turn a mushy area into it needs a little structure. That's all I'm doing is giving it a little structure. And it doesn't need that much, really. You would believe how little you need. You can pull some of those reflections down. And you can just use those as lights and posters and things that are up in the windows. And
Okay, yeah.
come on over here.
Yeah. Yeah, I just stopped because there was so much, whatever. I didn't think there was really that much I could do to help this. But the only thing I was going to do, I don't know, which I might do, is above this lady silhouette up there, white, kind of carrying through all that white kind of movement up.
Oh, I see. Are you using white in it? Yeah.
Do you think that will help? That's the only thing I could come up with.
You mean you want to use a little like over here?
The outline and go up, yeah, to carry that white business through a little bit.
I think it would work.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. Definitely, it works. That's something you can do, like, around your reflections, too. Like, you can hit a little bit of a light, as if there's some light.
Oh, okay, good idea. Yeah.
Right there, if you like.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I mean, you could take, what I'm doing here is very much like what Michelle did with her white gouache. She occasionally took a couple of little white things across things like that, and I thought that was really effective.
Yeah, I like that too, yeah.
And she did them almost, so the white wasn't totally opaque, you could see through it like it translucent. And I thought that really was effective, so I'm probably going to do that on mine too.
Okay, that sounds great.
So I'm going to rip off Michelle's opaque reflections, and I got Alice's. No problem, Rob, as long as you acknowledge mine in the right down here. Okay. All right.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've got. There's Lynn. Lynn usually sends me a whole bunch of them.
Oh, no, I didn't this time.
You did? Because here's you down. Oh. Who is this? Was this somebody emailing me something? What is this? Oh. Oh, is this Gina? Who is this?
That's me. That's me.
Gina?
It's Gina, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. All right. Hey, cool. Well, that looks like fun. Now, is this acrylics or?
Yeah, that's acrylic.
And that looks pretty big.
11 by 14. My usual size.
Why does this look? It looks really large. So, okay, I can see that little barcode in the back. For some reason, I was thinking it was about like 24 by, 18 by 24 or something.
Oh,
That's
no.
fun. Yeah, you left out the silhouettes, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I was painting it just as a abstraction.
Yeah.
That's where I was going with it.
Yeah. It works. I mean, yeah, it definitely gives a feeling of all the shapes and the reflections and the colors and edges, and definitely. In fact, truthfully, if you take the figures out of all of our pieces, if you take the figures out, it really is pretty much a piece of abstraction.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Which is a great thing. I mean, you don't have to have something recognizable, and although I can feel like it does feel like storefronts, and what I really like is the shimmer you're getting on the ground. Really shimmers. Let me see this. Yeah. See how dark and light she gets? Everybody, look at that. Really dark and light. That's what gives it the shine. Love this area in the window right over here to the right. This whole area.
You know, is that all palette knife?
Everything is palette knife except for the round lanterns, because that's just too hard to paint with a knife.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. I had fun. The background it doesn't come through here, but the background is a lot of different colors. It's like blue and green and red and purple and.
I can see.
Photo.
Yeah, I can see some of it there. Yeah, I can see that. Because it just looks kind of black over here, but I can see all the blue, purple, green. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're scraping back in to do some palette knifing. Great. Just let it rip. Why not?
Yeah. What have I got to lose?
Some canvas board and some paint. Whoops.
Some
Sorry.
time.
Where is this? Here, right. Oh, you sent me two, huh? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. I thought I accidentally had sent you the wrong picture somehow.
Oh, okay.
So another one. What's this?
There we go. Beautiful. I love the colors. Love the contrast. The handling of the paint. And you know, the nice thing about acrylics too is you can always glaze into some of these whites if you felt like it. So some people would set all those lights up with just white, let it all dry, and then glaze in their color. I mean, if you really want vibrancy, it'll shimmer. I mean, it'll really illuminate more.
Interesting.
That's something to experiment with. Anyway, I think these are gorgeous.
Thank you.
I love those lanterns. Wow. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And we've got Daryl. Hey, Daryl. That looks great. Look at that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, I love that little frame in this guy there. Little I mean, your light up there, that really, so now it really does attract a lot of attention, so.
It's kind of rough.
And then, you know what you might want to do, I mean, I don't know, you could take some of that down into here, maybe a little bit brighter.
Okay.
A little bit of that.
That's not with the white gouache. I guess people are using the white gouache. Is that what you used on the tops, on the lights?
Yeah. Is that what you're using up here in the lights too? The white gouache. Yeah.
I have some. I haven't brought it out. But I use white paint up there on the. It's supposed to be the little light bulbs. And
yeah.
It's just white paint. Titanium white.
And then you could also take some of those down into, into the reflections.
Yeah.
You want?
I don't know. Would that work? Putting red on top of that dark? I'll try, I guess.
I mean, it should. It's opaque. So let's see. And then possibly.
You mean reflections of the lanterns, red?
Yeah, you could take some of those too.
Okay. Gotta mix it pretty heavy then, huh? Mix the paint pretty, yeah.
Yeah, or you could underpaint it in white and let that dry and then glaze in over the red. So like this. You can put it in the white first, put it in pretty bright, just, and then come back with your red.
That won't look pink, huh? It will look.
It will. It'll look. If you have to glaze it twice, then make sure you let it dry completely, or it'll pick up the paint.
Yeah, it needs some more color. It needs more color in the front.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit of yellows and oranges in there too.
Yeah.
And then just throw your reflections right over it. Your black reflections right over it.
Yeah, I need reflections of the figures in the back, the little figures too. I forgot about putting reflections on those. Yeah, there we go. Ah, right there, yeah. Okay.
See?
White, put white down, let that dry, and come back with some red, huh?
Yeah, yeah. And
orange or whatever.
I like this sort of this really calligraphic sort of way you're working here. It's nice. You know, occasionally though, I would take a couple of these strokes right behind a figure. And some of these, you know, see how they all end at one spot? I would just drag a few over here and there, kind of behind things.
Yeah, I didn't want to lose the figures, you know.
Right, I understand. I see what you're saying. Yeah. So I would be very careful. Just a couple overlaps. That's all.
Okay.
And I could possibly even see a little bit more contrast up it, especially up at the top here.
Yeah, I like more color. I'm gonna dry that. Lay some white down and let it dry, and then come in with some more color, orange, red, and then then darken up the reflections, the shadows.
Yep.
Okay.
You got it.
It's a rough sketch. It's a rough sketch, is what.
Yeah, look. That's great. Your figures look really good too, by the way. These figures look great. Look great. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Diana. Ooh, that's a lot of lanterns. That is a lot of lanterns in the sky.
It kind of started bleeding all over the place when I was doing the wet on wet.
Yeah, so just make it into a whole bunch of lanterns. Why
It's
not?
like a cluster, real cluster of lanterns.
It could be like that. I mean, I'm sure there were a lot of lanterns. I could see more
reflections.
Yeah.
Yeah. After watching your comments of the others, it would really help. Yeah, definitely.
Oops. Some, reds and oranges, and these figures really pop. Storefront's great. This is great. And you put a little white in your reflections. That looks good. That's what Michelle taught us today. So I can see that here and there.
I had to go in with gouache because the reflection where the sign, that light from the top, my wet into wet just covered it up, so I had to go back in and put that gouache there. Yeah.
So you just did a little gouache in there. It's fine. These figures are perfect. This is what I'm talking about. You don't have to get very detailed with them because we know what it is. Sometimes when I paint crowd scenes with lots of people, I don't bother putting any detail in. In fact, sometimes I just palette knife them in there. Because what happens is it just makes sense that there would be people. I mean, you have the people here, and they're defined enough. Now you have a few more, and you can even put more in, and they all make sense. So this is looking good.
That center, kind of that off-center, big white reflection. I probably should. The paper got kind of dry there, so I should probably soften those edges, shouldn't I?
Yeah, I was looking at mine too. I could probably do the same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
I just take a little water and add a little color around the edges, and it should give you a nice little soft edge.
Okay.
Give it a little TLC.
Well, this was fun. I mean,
Good.
Just because I just kind of let it do what it was going to do.
Yeah.
No control at all. Really. But
Good. Well, good. It doesn't have to be all that controllable.
no, I'm kind of out of it today, so it was kind of nice to see what was happening.
Yeah. Understood. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we've got Ethel. All right.
All right. I'm going to be contrary and said this was not fun.
Not fun.
It was very difficult, yes.
Oh man, why?
I don't know. It just kind of felt out of control, but I think I had most problem with the perspective on it, where everything was in relation to everything else.
Well, I mean, it looks like your perspective is fine.
Yeah, it kind of followed what you said.
I mean, it's not heavy perspective in this piece. It's not really. It all converges to one point, and
yeah, I just had trouble with where the actual thing ended and the water begins, or the wet begins.
yeah. So that's what I do. I usually put a line there.
Yeah.
And I would take some of these down into the reflection. You know, some of these. Don't have a problem with them just getting a little too long if you like to.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, I've done that with a little bit, like the white one I brought down further, all the way to the bottom. So,
yeah.
but
If it's going down that far, why not?
And then the balloons kind of got lined up there, and I didn't intend that. But oh well.
Yeah. So like this one right here feels like it's overlapping, so that's good.
Yeah.
Being overlapped, and this is overlapped, so you know.
Yeah. I did have fun putting little white dots in.
I know, huh? Isn't it fun?
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, and so I might take some of those down here.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I forgot about that. I see.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, dampen the surface and then come into some of those.
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Looks great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we got Henry.
Hi.
Hi. Whoops. From the side there, huh?
Oh, sorry. Should I redo that? Or can you just can you?
That's okay. Here, I'll move on. Okay.
Oh, should I? Okay.
I'll come back to you. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, Suzanne. Suzanne, your painting really pops.
Hi, it looks very patriotic.
Hey, look, it really pops. Wow. Wow, because your darks and lights really pop. Nice. It's got a feel to you. You know, you really got your own little style going there. You know, one of the things that's really making this thing pop is the contrast you have with these right here. All this contrast. So I might bring a little bit of that, something really nice and dark right down into here.
Oh, down below. Okay.
And really, really pop it.
Okay.
I mean dark. I should get like, let me see here. Like that. Really. Smack them in there.
Okay.
Come down in here. Oh, beautiful reflections. Feels like a rainy. I mean, it feels exactly like what it looks like. I mean, it looks great. Let's hear. Let's get up into this thing. It has a book illustration feel to it. And your overlapping of the lanterns really, you can feel the depth in it. They're bigger in the foreground, medium, smaller, small, and they're overlapping, which is giving you all that depth. You got plenty of depth. So looks like a lot of things got kind of dry on you.
Yeah.
And if you're wanting to loosen up any of those edges, what you could do is just dampen the area again, throw the same color on, and then it'll get a little bit looser around these edges. You can play with it. You know, just sit and play with the edges and get them the way you want. Because you've done all the hard work.
Okay.
By the way, one of the reasons that your reflections aren't popping as much as it is up here is because it looks like some of your, let's see, some of the balloons or the lanterns are maybe could be a little bit brighter.
Yeah, they got dark.
So, if you're wanting to use a little white gouache, you don't have to, but
Okay.
suggestion here, I would underpaint them in white, get a little red over them, maybe orange or something too.
Okay.
And get those the way you want it. You've got some shadow side on these too, so you could hit that a little bit darker over here. And really, and then hit that dark over on this side. I don't know, just something.
Okay.
I'm being picky.
That's all right. And I don't like how the two people ended up right in the middle.
And if you didn't tell me, I wouldn't have even noticed.
That bugs me.
They're kind of off center. I mean, it looks like the middle. I mean, the middle's kind of over here, and they're all walking to it. So, even though they're in the middle of the picture, the end of the tunnel composition is right over here.
Right.
Which is like totally acceptable to my eyes. So.
Okay.
I guess it's because you have enough things pulling you in to where it takes the attention off of being in the middle. I don't know. It doesn't bug me though. If it didn't, I would have probably said, maybe you should move that over. Or there's always the option of if it bugs you too much, what you can do is just crop it in here,
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it just moves them over.
Okay.
Very easily remedied in watercolor. Okay.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Robert, just send you two. Hopefully it will work.
All right.
Let's try the second one.
Oh, I didn't get the second one.
Oh, okay. The one marked with number 2. Yeah, this one didn't work still. Okay, maybe you can do another one. It's
I'll wait.
it says sent, but maybe it takes a while.
Ethel, Suzanne, Barbara. Okay. All right, Barbara. Nice. Look at that. I like. You really got colorful on this one. You know what? By the way, one thing about this exercise, everybody, is that it's a great one to experiment with how you can use lots of color in your darks. Because a lot of times our darks can go dead on us in a painting, and so this is great that you're using blue, green, you're using a dark red, you're using all these colors, and that can really be helpful. So it's something to be learned out of a piece. You do a piece and hopefully you learn something out of it. Sometimes you've done everything in there before, but seeing the color in darks can be very, very helpful. So, oops. Yeah. Okay. What I might do here too is just I know it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but a little bit like where the bottom of the bottom of the storefronts. Let's see here. Oh, right. Sorry. Where are I think the bottom's here, right? Go in there. And then really, also really connect those reflections to the people, so we can really, because there's something behind them that's so bright, they're gonna read really dark, most likely. And I think a little more red down here in this reflection. Let's just see here. And some more of that. I would wet the surface, put those in, put some horizontal, like you did right here, horizontal edges, and just bring a little red into your water. I mean, I just kind of schmooped in a couple of values, and I think it does a lot to break up all that color. So, all right, are you there, Barbara? No? Okay, that's fine. And I think some dark in here. A little more contrast. We're looking for a little more contrast up in here. I staged mine a little bit darker out here. So I'll leave that up to you whether you do that or not. And a little more of these contrasts up in here. That's all. A little bit more of that. All right, that's about it. Oh yeah, maybe some of these little white twinkles. Those can be great. They're effective. Think about those. Okay. And oops, didn't clear it, did it? Okay, there we go. And now, Henry.
Okay.
Third time's the charm.
Okay.
All right, there we go.
Works. Okay.
That pops.
Thank
Well,
you.
I love this bloom you're getting going in the sky there. Look at that. So that's one of those things where, let's say, for instance, you wanted to put some more contrast up in the sky, but then you don't want to cover up that beautiful watercolor mark.
Yeah, it's a flower. Yeah.
What's working for you here is you have this dark right here on this light sky, and I have seen night skies, especially when there's a whole lot of city lights around, where it's actually pretty bright.
Yeah.
So I like the dark on the light right there. I think that works. So
Thanks.
that's working for you.
I used the resist for the lantern, and I used the gouache also. Yeah.
To use some what's it called?
Masking fluid.
Yeah, masking fluid. Yeah. Oh, that works. I mean, you'd hardly even know you used it.
Yeah, I applied with a palette knife because it destroyed brushes. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yes, it does. Yeah. 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 One problem I have with the mascoid or the masking fluid is sometimes it gives you such razor sharp edges.
Yeah, that's what I got there. That's what you can see. I can maybe soften the edge with some blotting wet.
No, what I was going to say is I think the way you handled it was fine with me. I mean,
okay.
You do have some, but the way that your loose handling of the paint sort of masqueraded a lot of that. So, what do you think about more red in
the reflections?
Yeah, red and orange possibly.
Okay.
I swear, every time I see your signature, I feel like it says H2O.
It will be 21 soon.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because it's watercolor, H2O.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are great.
Thank you.
Nice piece.
Thanks. Nice. Yeah, I like the subject matter. It reminds me of my hometown in China.
Oh, did it rain a lot?
Yeah, and the lanterns, on the street, like a festival kind of.
I love the lanterns.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know where this is.
I thought it was in China. Does it? No? It may be China,
I saw some characters up in the. I didn't know what language it was, but I saw some characters up in the windows.
Yeah, it's very common in China, in the tourist town or downtown or any place. They use that, especially the Lantern Festival or the New Year's, the Chinese Lunar New Year. You see them everywhere. Yeah. But nowadays they got this all year round. It's kind of yeah, out of context sometimes. Anyway, thank you for the lesson. I learned a lot.
Welcome. Thanks for sharing that. That's really nice. Nice
Thank
piece.
you.
Yeah. See the way he does his figures, everybody? Look, just a dot, a little couple squigglies, a couple of things for legs, and that's all you need. Looks great. I mean, I wouldn't do any more than that, that's for sure.
I learned from yours. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And we're great.
Okay, I made this stuff.
Oh, now you took your figures and put them over here. That's nice. You really put them over there.